Well, Kurt and Sean, as David mentioned, this beating outside of Stefano's took place the night of January the 24th. A citizen did call 911 that night, and officers did respond, but nobody was arrested. Kurt and Sean, the remodeled concourse is really quite impressive. The artwork here represents the Columbia River Gorge, and you can see a representation of the river on the floor here. In just a moment, we'll take you indoors and show you the Sony PlayStation 2. It goes on sale at midnight tonight across the country. But these folks here are going to have to wait until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning because Best Buy doesn't open until then. We're on the Sylvan Overpass over Highway 26 right now, and everything out here is just coated with a little layer of ice, kind of like this branches. They brought out all the equipment. They rolled out this fire engine, then they geared up in elbow pads, knee pads, umbilical air tanks, full body harnesses, and masks, all to save some baby ducks. We're standing along the northbound lanes of Interstate 5 tonight, just north of Albany, and as you can see, they have this side of the interstate completely shut down. These are the northbound lanes. Police tell us that just before 7 o'clock this evening, a van broke down along the side of the roadway here on the side of the interstate. A trooper with an Albany police officer in his car stops to help the driver of that van. Then a short time later, another trooper pulls up in a second vehicle. All three officers are standing in front of the van trying to help the driver of that van, when police say the driver of a blue pickup truck, which you can see in the distance back there, swerved across one lane of traffic and hit all three people standing in front of the van. Now, we're told that 2 people were killed out here tonight. One of them was an Albany police officer, the other an Oregon State trooper. A second trooper was airlifted to Emmanuel Hospital, where he's been being treated tonight for his injuries. The driver of the truck was also injured. He's at the hospital tonight as well. Police are not releasing the names of anyone who was injured or killed out here at this point, but they do tell us that the northbound lanes of Interstate 5 will be shut down tonight at least until midnight so that they can wrap up this investigation. That's the situation from here. Back to you.
Yeah. 911, what is your emergency? There's a man outside of my house that looks like he's been burned.
Dispatchers get the call about 9:30 Sunday night. A man with severe burns needs help on Fraser Road.
He basically didn't have any skin left on his, mostly on the front of his body. He didn't have skin left on his hands, didn't have any fingernails left. On his face, most of his skin was gone.
He just came up on an ATV and he's in desperate need of help. He's got blood all over him.
It was Fran Howe who made the 911 call. She was home alone when the injured man showed up at her door.
I didn't recognize Jim because of the burns. He said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "No." He said, "I'm your neighbor." And then it dawned on me that it was Jim.
10 or 15 minutes earlier, Jim Williams had tried to light a pilot light in a house down the street. Firefighters say a leaking propane tank had filled the home with so much fuel that the ignition from the pilot light blew the house about a foot off of its foundation.
It was picked up, literally, the force of the explosion. It must have been a pretty good leak, and it must have been leaking for quite a while.
Today you can still see the ATV tracks from Jim Williams' amazing ride to help.
He got on an ATV, and the ATV that he got was not an electric start, it was a pole. And so, just totally burned like that, he had to pull that, start it up, and he drove about a half mile through the woods.
Talk to anyone involved in this rescue and they will tell you it is an amazing testament to Williams' will to survive.
I'm surprised he wasn't dead, yeah, from the concussion alone.
Very, very hard for me to fathom how he made it through that.
Former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will be in Portland tomorrow to stump for Republican Senator Gordon Smith. Smith faces Democrat Bill Bradbury in the November elections. Netanyahu served as Israel's prime minister from 1996 to 1999. Tomorrow he'll meet with reporters in Portland and then attend a private party. A 26-year-old Portland man is accused of sexually abusing his girlfriend's daughters. Zachary Schrader is in jail tonight, charged with sex abuse and sodomy. He's accused of attacking a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old. Police think the abuse happened at Schrader's parents' home in Milwaukee. Detectives say additional charges are likely. Now on to the wildfires. Here's the latest. 14 major wildfires are burning right now in Oregon. They cover more than 260,000 acres. And one of the most important fires is the Sheldon Ridge fire. It's burning dangerously close to the Dalles in the Columbia River Gorge. Hundreds of homes are threatened, and today the blaze grew to 10,000 acres. KPTV's Lori Nixon is live near the Dalles with the latest. Lori, thank you. And as Lori mentioned, wind gusts in the gorge today reached 40 miles an hour, and that made it difficult for firefighters to contain the Sheldon Ridge fire. Meteorologist Mark Nelson now on the weather deck with more on the wildfire weather forecast. Well, it's a story with lots of twists and turns. We're at Southeast 28th and Sherman tonight, and the standoff happened just a couple of blocks down the roadway here. This middle school that we're at, Hosford Middle School, was locked down for much of the afternoon. SWAT team was out here, and in the end, they arrested this man whose picture we have to show you. He is 22-year-old Alan Goody II. What's interesting is that Goody was just released from jail 2 days ago, released on Monday evening. Police tell us that he holed up in a house here this afternoon for almost 4 hours. It all ends when a man wearing only his underwear walks out of a Southeast Portland home.
There was a report that he was upstairs changing clothes. Someone could see him through a window, actually trying on clothing.
The trouble started just after 1:30 this afternoon. A man steals a bag from a car at 33rd and Powell. People chase him a few blocks, then lose him. Shortly afterward, neighbors hear a woman screaming for help from the Southeast Portland home.
As she came out of the house screaming with her baby in the arms.
Michael Rentz, who was driving by, stops to help. A few houses away, Jeff Sanders hears the screams, too.
And we were both on the front porch, and she said their boy was in the house, told them that there was a stranger in the house.
Police say it appears the suspect who stole the bag ran into this house. The two Good Samaritans rush into the home, rescue the woman's 2-year-old son, and then find a man hiding in an upstairs bedroom closet.
He actually said, "Oh, you guys seem like nice guys. I just want to leave. I just want to get out of here."
The suspect was back in the back room and alluded to having access to a gun.
And we then tried to, we're backing down the stairs, but holding our ground so that he wouldn't move or get out of the house.
Police arrive minutes later. The SWAT team surrounds the house, and after 3 hours of negotiation, the intruder finally surrenders. A successful ending, but not exactly how these two men hoped to spend their day.
I was scared the whole time.
It was a little unnerving.
Lots of commotion out here today. The man arrested today, Alan Goody, faces a number of charges, including arson, because police say he tried to set fire to a garbage can inside of the home. One other note, they're still trying to find out if Goody is going to be a suspect in the car prowl. If it turns out he is, he will have victimized 2 people from the same family in one day, because the man whose car he broke into allegedly is the father-in-law of one of the men that ran in to rescue one of the kids out of that house. So.
Whew.
Weird story.
Very weird. And boy, that woman's lucky to have such brave neighbors.
No kidding.
We're just stopping off, picking up 2 people in Everett.
Get on a bus. Get on Amtrak.
Come on in.
Get on the cheapest form of transportation you can to get yourself up here.
Eli Perlman is a firm believer in buying his prescription medication in Canada. Okay. He's retired, lives on a fixed income, and he's interested in bargains.
Prescription drugs at Canadian prices.
Eli signed up for a bus ride with RX Passport, a company that organizes drug runs to Canada for seniors.
Well, I expect to save a lot of money. And at our time in life, that's important. The pain medication that's been prescribed for me just keeps going up.
About once a week, the company takes a busload of seniors, such as Gil and Eli, from Seattle's Northgate Mall to South Surrey, British Columbia.
And it's getting to the point where a lot of people that are on fixed incomes have to make a choice between what they're having for dinner that night or whether they can afford to take their pills, and that's not fair.
I'm taking a lot of medications. I'm an amputee.
Like many seniors, Eli takes several different kinds of prescription medicine. Nerve medication for
phantom pain in a foot that isn't there.
Heart medication, cholesterol medication, diabetes medication, and a diuretic. In the United States, he pays about $1,000 every 3 months for drugs.
That was all out of pocket. I get no coverage whatsoever for prescription drugs.
He expects the nearly 150-mile trip to a pharmacist across the border to bring a 30% savings. In South Surrey, the bus stops at a strip mall.
Okay, right down that way.
At a Canadian doctor's office and pharmacy set up to cater to Americans.
It's basically telling you you're not getting any medical advice, it's just to do for your prescription.
I am Dr. Samani.
You are?
I am.
All right.
Each of the seniors meets briefly with a Canadian physician.
Just going to go through your prescriptions,
okay,
just to make sure that we're clarified with what you're taking.
The Canadian doctor rewrites and signs the prescriptions given by an American doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
You're very welcome.
That's because Canadian pharmacies will only fill prescriptions signed by a Canadian physician.
That's the Daypro.
Oh, it's fantastic. This is 3 months worth. This is just part of what it would cost for a month in the States.
Prices will vary depending on where you buy your medication in the United States, but at your neighborhood pharmacy, you can expect to pay about $50 for this much glucophage, a diabetes drug. In Canada, for the same amount of money, you can get more than twice as much of the same medication.
I think anytime you have a proposed solution whereby people have to get on a bus and go to another country because things are too expensive here, yeah, I think that's out of hand.
American pharmacists are well aware of the problem, but many see it as the price of a free market economy.
The manufacturers of these products will get what the market can bear.
Eli sees it differently.
The criminal part of this is American pharmacies rip you off. American pharmaceutical corporations are ripping us off because they can. It's ridiculous to see the lobby that is so strong in the pharmaceuticals. The man on the street hasn't got a chance.